All right. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to our Innovator Academy application webinar. My name's Jim, and it's good to see you. Thank you for joining us. We've got a lot to share, and I'm going to try to keep it within like 30-ish minutes. Hopefully, you have a little bit more time than that. But what we're going to do today is just talk about this Innovator Academy they're back face to face. So, after about, I don't know, 3 years or so of COVID and all the things, they went virtual. So this year, we are so excited to be involved in one of the face-to-face Innovator Academies that's happening. And the one we're involved in, and the one you should be paying attention to tonight, is the one in Seoul, South Korea. What? That's going to be amazing. So we have a lot to share with you today. Hopefully, it'll be fun. Hopefully, you'll have some things that you'll pick up. Hopefully you've got an application already in the works. Do you? I hope you probably do. If you haven't, time's ticking and you only have a few days to do the whole thing. Doable. I will put that out there. It's very doable. So I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring up my screen and let's walk us through some of the great things that are happening with this academy. I've got some fun guests here. They're just sort of parked off to the side wondering, when do we get to come on, Jim? And they'll be on in a minute. And I'm so excited to introduce you to them. Some of you probably already know. What we're looking at here is this Innovator Academy happening in August 7th through the 9th, which is like summer in South Korea. I'm based here in Australia, where it'll be the heart of winter. So it'll be great to go somewhere warm and beautiful and yummy and tasty. If you haven't signed up for the Innovator Academy or you haven't started your application, there's a link there. You're going to want to click on that link or type that link into the chat. Let me see if I can put that into the chat for you. Look at me doing all this other stuff. Oh yeah, look at everybody's joining us. Thank you for joining us. That link there should take you to the application process. And a little bit of information on, what the Innovator Academy is. Good to see some familiar faces. Hello. Thanks for saying hi in there in the chat. Some familiar faces. Hello, Chris Betcher. Feel free to share any of your information. Maybe you're an innovator and you're watching and you want to, add your own 2 cents to it. Do it. Andy Caffrey is here. That's exciting. So what we'll do is let me talk to you a little bit about what we're looking at here. So we're in Seoul, South Korea in August. Here's some facts, argumentative, I think. But it has been 5 years since a face-to-face academy. So you know that we went virtual something after 2019. And then this is one of 6 academies that are happening around the world. So that's pretty awesome. And then I think this is the only one on this hemisphere. Now, when I say hemisphere, I mean this side of the world, not top and bottom, like north and south hemisphere. I'm talking like east and west. I don't know. Is that argumentative? Anybody geography people out there? What there is also you need to know about this is that there's a limited number of seats available for this. So unlike other things like the trainer, where you can just apply every month and we just accept anybody who has a good application, the Innovator Academy is a smaller cohort of people. And we'll talk more about that. And then Seoul is a cool place to visit. I wrote fantastic, but it's also very cool. Raise your hand if you've been to Seoul. Okay, good. That's good. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a beautiful place. And so you're probably wondering, like, Jim, I haven't been to Seoul. Like, what's cool about it? Well, here, Namsung Tower, otherwise known as Seoul Tower. It's incredible. It has an incredible view. I think I have a note here that says it's 236 meters tall, and it's the second highest point in Seoul. So there, a view. You get a view. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful picture. I probably stole from the internet. And then the other one is, the other thing to note is Gyeongbok Palace, right? So this is my picture. I took this, I don't know, a few years ago. It's incredible, like jaw-dropping, right? And it was rebuilt. I think there was a building in the middle of this place there for a while, and then now it's just this incredibly awesome site. It's one of 5 royal palaces that exists in Seoul. So culture, man, culture. It's all about culture, beautiful things like that. If you know me, I'm a huge fan of the night market. I think it's called Myeongdong Market, Night Market. We're talking like food and delicious things and fish cakes and, K-pop, socks, all sorts of really cool things that are available to you there in that night market. So there'll be time after the Innovator Academy to go out and take a look. So you're probably wondering, what, Jim, it's got to be one more thing. Of course, there's this Korean barbecue. Now, you probably go to a Korean barbecue right there in your hometown, but now you can get it like Korean barbecue. And so it's incredible. The experience is amazing. So hopefully with all the friends you're going to make there at the Innovator Academy, you'll be able to experience some incredible food and just right there on the street, cooking over an open flame right on the table. It's amazing. Some beautiful stuff out there. So hopefully you'll have a chance to experience that. Here's the thing. You're probably going to yourself, Jim, why would I go to Korea to this Innovator Academy? Well, I'll show you. I'll share my favorite picture from recent times. It's this thing. It's the people. It's the community. It's an ever-growing, amazing group of people that share with you their insights, their ideas, their innovation, and you get to be part of that. And it's mind-blowing kind of stuff. So this is where I want to just maybe introduce you to some friends of mine. Is that okay? Hopefully that'll be okay. And we'll hear their stories. Of course, we know our favorite person in the Innovator Academy world. I'm going to bring him up first because you probably know who I'm talking about. This is Mr. Andrew. Andrew, how are you, man? Oh, I'm not hearing you. Am I not hearing you? Yeah. Okay. There you go. Still not hearing you, but just smile. And Andrew Caffrey. Okay. Carlos, will you raise your hand? Give me a thumbs up. That Andrew, we're going to let you fix that. Bring in another favorite person. Andrew, by the way, is from the Mountain View 2016 cohort.
I think I'm fixed now, Jim.
Oh, you did it. Good work. Good work. Andrew is from the 2016 cohort. I have gray in my beard, so I'm from the Mountain View 08, like the fifth one ever. But Andrew, Andy, thank you for joining us. It's so fun to have your experience.
No problems. You're right, Jim. It's going to be exciting to be back in person. It's been a long time. We've been running Innovator online for quite some time. I've been in this little box online with the program, but it's great to get out about in person. So I'm looking forward to this.
That's right. That's right. Hey, let's bring in some more folks, some friends of ours. One other person I'll bring in is Mr. Carlos Galvez. Carlos.
Hello, everybody. How is it going? Oh, confetti.
How did you get confetti?
Wow, that was cool. How'd you do that?
I don't know. Is that magic? Maybe I don't know who did that. Well, good to see you, Carlos. Thank you. And you are from Colorado, 16.
Correct.
Do you and Andrew, have like street fights and stuff because you're both like 16, but you're both from different areas?
I would, except I never applied for Mountain View. That Colorado was my first application, so I can't say that there is a competition here. We both got it on our first try. That's all I know.
Well, I was third attempt. So I applied twice before Mountain View, back to GTA days.
And this is great because we do talk about the struggle that a lot of people do have to apply more than once for this, because this is a fantastic program.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Hey, we have some other friends that we want to bring in. One of my favorite people here in Australia is Miss Alex Galland. She from which one were you in, Alex? You were in Sydney.
I was in Sydney 17.
Yeah. So you got to stay at home. You got to just go up the street.
Pretty much, just up the street. Yeah.
No, a lot closer than Korea, I think. But you were able to go, at least stay in the country. So good to see you, Alex. Thanks for joining us. So great to have you lend your expertise. And we have one last person, and I You made me notice I'm trying to bring everybody in according to the date of their Innovator Academy. But I did see somebody comment in the chat that they love that we're using Korean letters in our names. Well, let me tell you, there's no way we could have done that without the amazing Judy Kim. Hi, Judy.
Hello, everyone.
Good to see you.
Hello. Hi.
Judy is so wonderful. She's in Korea. And you went to what
Yes, I
academy?
am.
You were in almost the last one before COVID, right?
Very last one. That was the very last cohort in person. I met Andrew there, and also I met a lot of awesome educators and innovators who worked so hard during COVID-19. So it was game changers, and it was breathtaking. It was just best moment ever.
Oh.
So my cohort was in Singapore in 2019.
So you did have to travel. You went to Singapore. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. First time, like I was kind of doubting because it was in the middle of semester, but definitely it was worthwhile. So some of you kind of hesitating submitting your application because you have to fly all the way to Korea. Please do not hesitate. You won't regret it. So deadline is next week. I think Andrew and Jim will tell you more about it, but please do not hesitate. Korea is such a cool place, and you are going to see and hear directly from awesome educators and also create innovation with technology. And who knows, you might see BTS on the way.
That's I think we're done. Thanks. That was it, Judy. That's all I had to cover. That you literally just said it all. It's amazing. No, thank you. It's so good to see all of you. Thank you for taking the time just to join this call and sharing your knowledge. That was really one of my first questions that we just kind of alluded with Judy, is that the travel, like, is it worth it? Like, how do we justify the commitment to travel and the time? And maybe Carlos, maybe you can answer that first, Carlos. Where were you before? Like, where did you have to come from to get to Colorado?
Yeah, it's a good one to ask me, because at the time I was teaching in China, living and working in China, and I was accepted to the Summer Academy in Colorado. But luckily, my family is from Guatemala, so we made the summer hop home, and then I took a couple of days to go to Colorado, which was the first time I'd ever been to Colorado, never been to Boulder before. But the excitement is just fantastic. Once you board that plane and your cohort, you're already chatting with your cohort, you're excited about what's happening, and Google's also playing tricks with you, doing the little guessing games of what's going to happen at the event. You can't wait. So I connected in Houston, got to Colorado, took a car, and met all my friends there who are lifelong friends ever since I met them, which is fantastic.
I think you just landed on something I think is so important for me too. The idea that when I was in Mountain View, and I was probably maybe 4 hours away, but at the time as a teacher in a classroom, that could have been 500 hours away. It was a huge lift for me to get out of school and get over to this academy. And back in those days, it was just one day, and it was called the Google Teacher Academy or something. And I remember just being there in awe, like, wow, I thought I was alone here. And I thought, and it was like just the folks that you end up hanging out with and becoming lifelong friends with. I remember I sat next to somebody from New Zealand, and I was like, where's New Zealand? And then I sat next to this guy from the American Film Institute. He was a teacher, and I was like, what's happening? It really powerful. Alex, what about you?
Yeah.
You didn't have to go too far, but like what did you notice when you got there?
Yeah, I didn't have to go too far, Jim, but there were people in my cohort who had traveled a long distance, quite a few who came from America and further beyond. And I think, I just remembered something. There was one guy at the end of the Innovator Academy. He had loved it so much that he got a tattoo of the Certified Innovator Program light bulb. Can you believe that? Isn't that dedication? Shows how wonderful it is, how life-changing it is.
I've seen people with this tattoo. He's not the only one. There's many people out there. We're not condoning you getting a tattoo about this experience. It's probably will be worth it, but at the same time, like, that's going to be on you, right? Don't be like, Jim and his friends said that we should get a tattoo. The people who other people do that. Yeah.
But it
Yeah,
just
that's
shows
pretty.
what an impact. It shows what an impact it had on him. It had on all of us, in fact.
For sure. For sure.
Absolutely.
How about you, Judy? When you arrived, how did that feel after coming from so far?
Well, Singapore was not way too far, but as Carlos said, after my application was accepted, you are in pair in group, and my authority buddy was Stephanie Rostin. Are you there? And she had to fly from America, and then right after we just got accepted, we just became a pair almost every single day. We just had a Google Meet talk to solve not only the problem, but share our ideas and thoughts. And so even before the academy started, we started our ideation part and also getting some comments. So once we just got there in Singapore, our team was just so empowered, and we can just go through every single step, together, not separately. So that was the great part.
Yeah, so cool. Andy, what advice do you have for people who are planning to make that trip?
In terms of the sort of logistics, obviously you need to talk to your school if it falls in school time where you're working. Often schools can get additional publicity from having someone who's an innovator on their staff. So often when you're sort of saying, can I have 4 days off and how long you need to travel, you could talk to your school about, well, if we get accepted, we could do a press release, put that in the paper, share that with our parents, because it's a great thing for us to get someone accepted into this academy. And so there can be some sort of benefits to the school as well as the individual of going to the academy. So think about things like that. And obviously just check the dates, check you can make it. You do need to be there in person. This is an in-person academy. And so you need to be able to travel to the location, be there in person for the time, and then travel back again. So just check that all that lines up before you do your application.
Yeah, because that's a requirement, isn't it? Like the virtual academies was just like you could just be here in your house.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, this is in person. So yeah, you're required to be able to make this in person. So be thinking about that, before you apply. But of course, you have to be accepted to really kind of have to cement those things. So you might just go ahead and apply and then see how you go. Right.
Yeah. And every year some people do, but I always say, just have a little look as to how to get there, because some people get surprised. I didn't realize that was where it was. Well, you could look on a map. You can use things like Google Maps to locate the academy in advance.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like look at if you don't know, make sure you know where Korea is, and that way, and how you might maybe kind of do a quick Google search about Google flights, right?
Just do a little bit. You don't have to do. You're right. We don't want to book anything in advance because, as we said, it's a selective process. So you'll find out if you get in, and then you can make travel plans. But certainly, just have a little think through the logistics of it.
Yeah, that's right. So tell me, Carlos, like what was your biggest takeaway from just to kind of remind folks that this academy is about building on an innovation, about building on an idea and ideating, and then using the team and the folks around you to help process this idea into something. So not that I'm asking you to tell me about that. I'm just wondering, like, knowing that was like, what was your biggest takeaway? Was it that, or was it just something else?
I think, you and I met up just previously this last year, and we had so many conversations about people that you and I both know from all these years of being involved in the Innovator program. So it has to be, for me, community. The people that you meet that are like-minded, the people that, a lot of us times we are innovators in our schools and we feel a bit segregated. Not everybody has that mindset, that mindset of that, that Google tries to teach us and tries to help us grow and develop our ideas. But as soon as I entered that room, I was like shocked by 36 other people who were exactly like me and brighter and better, and people I could learn from. And so if I had one, aside from the concept that design thinking is something that we should all live by our daily lives, it really comes down to the people you're going to meet who are just like you and you're never going to forget and help you grow for the rest of your life.
That's a really interesting point. You know, you and I did not meet at an academy. We knew of each other online for many years, and we didn't
Yeah.
actually meet face. I felt like when I met you, I think we did this weird hug. It was like, are we hugging for the first time? Like,
Yeah, I think so. It was hilarious.
like we've hugged before, right? And it was, yeah, it was really cool. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and
I
you
love
know,
it.
even like I've worked with Andy as well in as a coach in other academies, and I've worked with Alex as well. I got to meet Judy in Singapore. It is really just a network of fantastic, like-minded educators that ignite you. And I don't know if I'd be where I am without it. I'm not gonna lie.
I love it. How about you? How about you, Alex? What are you thinking about that?
Yeah, I agree entirely. It's most definitely the fact that you are meeting your tribe, and the networks you form, the friendships that you form are really quite life-changing. The people I was in my cohort with and the people then I've mentored afterwards have become really good friends. That's how I got to know Jim too, and then through Jim, Carlos, and so that those tentacles just spread. Lots of doors open from that. Apart from that, it is that idea of being inspired, like you alluded to, Carlos. I love that idea of being ignited because that's how it felt. Honestly, even to this day, this was over 6 years ago now, it's the best PD I've ever been to. And I've been to a lot of PD in my many, many years of being an educator. The whole design thinking thing was new to me at the time and it absolutely blew my mind. But the fact that you are being coached by and given feedback from the most amazing innovators themselves, most amazing people, is such a wonderful opportunity and such a privilege. So those things, and the fact also that, you know, as busy educators, we're in schools, we never have time just to sit and focus on one project at all. But the fact that you have those 3 days to really work on one thing solidly, getting advice from people, is such a wonderful thing in itself. Yeah, so life-changing, Jim. It really was, yeah.
I love these big statements, right? If I was watching this at home and I kept hearing people say like, "Oh, life changing," I'd be like, "Ah, it truly is. It truly is." My life literally changed in 2008, right? Something happened, and next thing you know, the doors just opened up for me. And you know, even like there's so many other certifications that I achieved throughout the process of being in the classroom. It really did. I always fall back on this concept of like what happened in 2008 at Google in Mountain View, right? Judy, how about you? What do you think? What do you think is your biggest takeaway?
Well, I totally agree with what Carlos and Alex said. You know, when I went to Singapore in 2019, all I expected was, yeah, I'm going to be a Google certified innovator. But right after graduation, life changing, like a lot of opportunities and a lot of chances to work with wonderful people. You know, we can travel around, right? But who you are going to meet, who you are going to work with, and who you are going to share your thoughts and ideas to make a better education, better classrooms, that's quite different story, right? So probably some of you out there thinking about, oh, you are going to be only just an innovator. No, after that, there are a lot of doors open. Yes, that's what happened to me. So please do not
Yeah.
hesitate. Just go for it.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because it doesn't happen. It may happen organically. It may like you may become an innovator, and then somebody sees that and they're like, I think because you're associated with this group of people, then we think you're going to be great. I just think what it was like liberating, just like empowering. You know, is that the right word? Empowering, that you just were like, you know what, I feel like I could go for it because not only am I standing here in front of you, but I'm behind me are all these other people in my cohort and in this community. Like I can't tell you how many times like I'll look at somebody, especially with you know what I do for a living, and I want to bring somebody in. I really look very closely at like, are you an innovator? Are you a trainer? You know, because I know to get that process to get in is rigorous. And you know, so the time that you take in that application really does make a big difference. Really good. I could sit here all day and chat with all of you. Is there anything else before I let you, most of you, go? Is there anything that you would like to just sort of reach out and let people know about this whole thing before before Andy and I take a look at the application?
Well, actually, we have to fill in the application in English, or there are some of the things that you might need help. Like for me back then, there are a couple of previous innovators from previous Innovators Academy. I contact them and they just gave me some comments like, Gary, Stephen. And then so some of you out there, your first language is not English. So if you need any help, we have a great advisors. So you can just actually leave your email or, contact some of us. And then maybe we can just help you to complete your application. So you can just to join us and be one of, Innovators community. So that's one thing I just wanted to make a comment before Liv.
That's a great point. Thanks, Judy. What about you, Carlos?
Yeah, I would just say, make sure you read the application process thoroughly. And when you guys make your video, go hard, because there's a big number of people applying. And when we see a video of you, just kind of like what I'm doing right now. Hi, I'm Carlos, and go hard. Show us your creativity. Show us that you really want to solve a problem in education that can be big and can be 10 times, right? Is what we always focus on. So it's not your random application to a random app or certification. This is big leagues. So really, really focus on it and give it your all.
That's big advice. That's big advice. We'll share with you links to look at how other people did their application video. Yeah, I'm a former film teacher, so I'm always a bit judgy about it, but I try to back off. Not everybody has the skills and the expertise. What I should also say is maybe that maybe you're not everybody's set up to have a production. We don't necessarily have all the resources for that. So how else can you make up for that, right? Like what in your creativity and what you say and what you show, those kind of things, for sure. All right. Anything else for the greater good before we jump into this application? You're also wonderful. Thank you so much for making the time. I'm gonna take you off. You're welcome to stick around. I can bring you back in when we do some Q&A here in a few minutes. But Andy and I think we're just gonna go through the application if that's okay. All right. See you soon, hopefully, and then I'll take you out here. Thank you. Do this, and then Judy here. Andy, the application is always an interesting one, right? Like I think, who reads these applications?
Yes, that's a good question. And Carlos alluded to that slightly there. So the applications are scored by a team of innovators. So each application is scored by 3 separate innovators who look at the application, who score some of the sections, because not every section is scored. We'll come to that in a second. And then those scores are sort of added up to give us a total to work out a list of people. We rank that list. And obviously we invite the people at the top of the list to the Academy. So you are writing for an audience of teachers who are existing innovators like Carlos and Judy, and all of us on the call have probably scored over the time. So anyone who's in that space. But you are also writing for a global list of people, because we could be around the world. And so be careful with localized terms. So think about, would someone who is in America, or someone who is in Australia, or someone who is in South Korea, would they understand what I'm writing in this application? Or have I used some terminology that we use in my school, but maybe people outside of that won't understand? So think about the language you're using when you're writing for that global audience.
Oh, you make such a good point there, because it is a global list of application readers. You think about about some of the problem that you're trying to solve as well. Is it like a localized thing, or can the readers?
It can be a localized problem, but the readers need to understand what that problem is. And so sometimes we see terminology. People use the word admin, or they'll use the words I'm in the UK. We use the word SLT. Talk about people who run schools, and that's very localized. People wouldn't understand that if you put that in an application.
I didn't even understand it when you just said it. I just I don't even know what you said. Thanks, Andy. That's such good advice. So good to have you on this call. It's like a secret. This is like the secret call. Don't tell anybody about it, because then they'll get into. So take a look at this. We have what you need to make sure you know about applying. You need to be able to attend in person. We talked about that. You need to have an active level 2 Google certified educator certificate you need to have that active, right? And you'll send your email in there with that. You of course need to go and apply. You need to fill out the application. That application is due next week, Tuesday, I think. So what's interesting about, I'm in Australia, and my Tuesday is different than Andy's Tuesday. It's also different than the people who wrote April 9th Tuesday. So if that's not confusing enough, just make sure you stick with Tuesday, wherever you are at 12
Get it in by midnight in the time zone you live in, and you'll be okay.
Oh,
So
I
get it in
I
by
put 12
midnight.
in the afternoon.
Yeah, midnight's fine in the time zone you live in. If
Okay.
you do it by 12 in the afternoon, Jim, you'll just be early, but that's fine.
That's
So
right.
just work to that, but make sure you get it in, because it is a system. The system saves as you go along, so you can go in and out of the application form. You don't have to do it all in one go, but just get it in by the deadline. That's really important not to miss that.
That's so true. Yeah, and it's don't forget, here in Australia we have a time change this weekend. So we go from AEDT to AEST on Sunday morning. So I'm not sure that you'll go through Tuesday still not knowing what time it is, but I don't know. I just thought I'd throw that in there. Let's take a look at this, Andy. So the first thing that's up is just really about supplying your email address for your level 2, right? This is not an upload your file thing. This is just give us the email.
We can check. Yeah, we can check you against if you did your level 2 on your school account and now you're applying with a Gmail account, or you've moved school since you did your level 2. That's all okay. Just put in the email address that you used when you passed your level 2, and your level 2 needs to be current. So they've got an expiry date on them. So make sure that this is before the expiry date. If it has expired, resit the level 2 exam and put the new email address, if it is different one, in there.
Yeah, and we always recommend you not applying with your work email. Like, apply with your Gmail account, your personal email account. I've been at this, what? Hold on, let me do the math. 17 years, I think, something like that. I don't know if that's wow. Sorry, I might need a moment. Over these years, I can't tell you how many times I've seen in the groups that people are like, I changed my email address. I left that job, right? So some of us, you might be in this for a while. So like, use your Gmail account.
Yeah.
Good. Love it. Let's take a look at this one. So how do you, this is a question here. It's how do you keep up to date on trends in education and technology? This is really about you. I don't know, Andy, is this about just kind of like looking to see how you connect and stay active?
Yeah. How do you connect with other people? How do you know what's going on in the world wider than your school? Are you out there on social media? Are you reading things on X or Twitter or Facebook? Are you in a Facebook group with lots of teachers? How is it you learn about things? And obviously you've learned and applied to the program. So there's something you must have done to reach out to find out what's going on. So it's just really finding out how you keep up to date.
This might be really important to share. So if it's something local, depending on where you are, that maybe somebody may not know about, maybe you might give it a little bit of a brief, some sort of description, so that way we can all be impressed by that. Right? Andy, I put down here that this data is really just used to kind of show your advocacy points. It's really what I'm looking at. So this piece in here is the number of years of experience in education, and how you and where you share.
Yeah, your social media piece is not a scored question. So we don't accept people who have thousands of followers and not accept people who don't. That is not relevant. And so this is a question where we don't use this to score who gets into the academy. But we do like to know what the reach is of each academy, like what's the impact of the work we're doing. So it's useful for the team at Google to know where people are, and obviously occasionally also just to know what presence people have got online. But it isn't used as a scoring question. So don't think that it's lots of followers. The other thing is when people get into the academy, they tend to pick up a lot more followers on social media. By announcing I'm now an innovator seems to get you more followers. So a lot of people who you look at got their followers after they got into Innovator, not as part of the process.
Yeah, good point. That's I think this is what I've seen Google use this information to kind of justify the program, right?
Yeah,
and
it helps give a reason for it. Yeah,
yeah. This program comes at such an expense, and we're so grateful for it because there's so many opportunities in there for us as educators. This is also one of those ones I don't think is being scored, but It's really just used to get to know who you are, right? So the application reader will just get to know your social impact. And when I look at something like this, like it says here, tell us about another community you're part of. I always read these things and are you a sharer? You know what I mean by that? Like, do you share? Because I when I want, I'm always sharing things with people out online and in person. I come to this community to kind of fill my cup, right? And I'm happy to give to the community, and I always do. But at the same time, I'm also looking for that. I want to lean into that community and just be like, I'm tired. I'm really tired, And are you the kind of person that's willing to help, or do you just want to take, right? Okay, good. This is where we start to really get in here, right? Like, how have you already been innovating, right? And what kind of things are you passionate about? So this, if you can't read it where you are, it's just basically saying, share a link to a piece of content that you created, and then explain how the link above inspired change.
Yeah, so this is something you've already done. So, and this could be just in very small scale. It could be in your classroom. So maybe you tried something while you were teaching to do something differently, to engage with students in a different way, and that really paid off. And so we're asking you to share a link and then talk about it with all the links throughout the whole application. Make sure that your links are publicly viewable. So when someone clicks it, something opens. And there's a big tip from Jim about that.
No, this is how you don't get in, right? Like this is, I see this, we help manage some of the trainer program, and it's like every application reader, they have a bunch, right? They're all reading a bunch, and they go, oh, I can't read this, you're out. And they just move on to the next application. You need to make sure that you've shared these documents correctly. It's the first sign that you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, just as you say there, check it in an incognito window. Just right click, open link in incognito window. Check it opens. If it does, we're all good. We can view that.
Yeah. Make sure that happens, right? Your video, the same. Make sure you've shared it correctly. This is another one just around, like, describe the Google feature that you think will be added in 5 years that you won't be able to live without, right? It's about you being creative. And I don't know, is there a chance that Google will take this idea and make $1 million?
It's not. The ideas don't feed directly into the product team, so it's not that we're just stealing everyone's ideas to build a new product. But it's thinking about, can you think about where this might be going? Can you think in the future how things might change? Certainly you're seeing a lot of people having thoughts around AI, but how does AI impact in education? How does that fit for us in a school context? Think about that in a bit more detail. If you can answer it without AI, but it could be any tool you want or something that doesn't exist right now. What is it you think Google will do? So it's just, it's about getting an idea of your creativity to solve a challenge.
Yeah. I feel like I don't want to derail this entire thing by saying, like, this is about your creative side, not, Gemini's creative side. I'm just going to say that and leave it. I'm going to move on. I love this one. Why do you want to become a Google certified innovator? Right. I think I added here, and I've already sort of said it. It's really important that you talk about your contribution to the community, right? Not about, and less about what you get from it. Often, because you're, like, excited about this program, you might be like, I can't wait to learn from everybody. I can't wait to, to have all these great resources available. I can't wait to have these people answer my questions. That's fine. And you should be thinking about that. You should be thinking that this community will help you with that, because they do. But I think in this answer, people like me are always going to be looking to see what you're sharing and what you want to, how you want to give and take that, right? The yin and yang of the give and take. Good. Anything about it? I'll just move on from there. Yeah. Okay. The challenge. Yeah, Andy, this is probably a big one for us, right? This is probably the most important question on the application.
The whole academy is focused around you wanting to solve a challenge in education. That challenge could be at your classroom level, could be your school level, it could be your district or statewide, or maybe if you want to solve a challenge for the whole wide world. It's up to you to think of what the challenge is. But the challenges of the process you're going to go through at the academy is around coming up with solutions to that challenge. But at the point of application, we want you to focus just on what the challenge is. We don't want loads of solutions at this point. We don't want to know that you've tried or you want to build an app, or it's going to be a website, or you're going to make a video. We don't need all of that stuff. No solutions at this point, because that's what's coming to the Academy is all about. What we want to know about at this point is what the challenge is. What is it you're trying to solve? Challenges that score well are challenges that resonate with other teachers. So even if you're doing something in your own classroom, maybe you'll say, well, what I want to do is I want to help engage the boys in my class are not engaging as well with maths as the girls are, and I want to look at how we focus on engaging boys with maths. Even though that's a challenge about an individual classroom, that's going to resonate with lots of other people. When people are scoring that, they're going to think, oh, I know teachers who've got that problem, or I see that's in my classroom, and it resonates well. So if your challenge is really popular, often the challenge alone can help you get into the Academy. If it's a good challenge, it generally on the whole gets accepted. And if the challenge is not great for whatever reason, or not clear as to what the challenge is, then it doesn't help the application. So it is the one big thing that's going to really help your application is to get a good challenge.
It's a good point, because this is what you're working on for 3 days, right?
Yeah.
So and yeah, you can hold your challenge lightly, right? As a friend of mine, Chris Hart, loves to say, you can hold that idea lightly, but at the same time, it's really what you're working on.
Yeah, and sometimes we say fall in love with the problem, not the solution, which means just really you need to be passionate about it, because you are going to spend time on it, and not just the 3 days at the Academy, because then after that you're going to go away for a year and work on the solution and be mentored by an existing innovator. So you're going to be that challenge is going to be around with you for quite some time. So yeah, get it right.
That's a good point. You do get a mentor for a year. Yeah.
After the Academy,
really
to help
good.
sort of deliver some solutions to your challenge.
Yeah. This other piece I think is really great, that you actually get to run your challenge by somebody, right? It's important to hear it from somebody else's point of view, right? Or to see it from somebody else's point of view. So yes, start thinking about, if you haven't already, like who can you involve in this, right? Making sure that that this challenge holds up, not only in the morning from when you came up with it, but also when you say it to somebody else.
And we found we used to do this when people got into the Academy. We used to say, go and talk to someone about your challenge, and we realized actually you should do that when you're applying, because if someone else instantly goes, well, that's not a thing, or it's not great, you get feedback straight away. So that's why we moved this into the application form, to say, okay, as part of the application process, go and interview someone, and then ultimately create this how might we statement, which is
it's
where
such,
you talk about
it's such a vulnerable thing, isn't it, to be able to share an idea that you have with somebody else. It's a big one. The next part of this application is just what Andy was saying. You want to categorize it, and of course, the big one is you coming up with this how might we statement is a big piece of the design thinking process, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's really just about you focusing on it, because it forces you. The context of the statement forces you to focus on what the problem is. And that's why we use that as a statement. And then we do have this additional question now, which is also have a quick look round. Like, has anyone else actually attempted to solve the challenge before? And if they have, but you don't think it's very good, absolutely, it's still an acceptable challenge. When I applied, my challenge for Innovator was around teachers having a high workload and having to mark a lot of work. And there were solutions out there to help automate marking of student work, but I didn't like them. They weren't very good. And so I was able to explain that here. Like, I have seen what's out there, but I think what I want to do is something different. So yeah, tell us about that in this question.
So much the process is is a big takeaway as well, right? This idea of what you're learning how to do. And then of course we have Carlos's video, right? Not Carlos's video, the video that you're going to produce that Carlos wants you to do a good job with. And it's this idea of a 90-second. Can we say that louder? 90 seconds, not 2 hours, not 5 minutes, 90 seconds, right? Is that right? It's still 90 seconds.
Yeah,
the idea is to
be able to really quickly pitch us your challenge. Yeah, because if you can't explain it in the first 90 seconds, the rest of those 2 hours, Jim, will just be a long-winded version of the 90 seconds. So just get us the thing. It also gives us a chance to see you if you want to be on the video. Not everybody appears. Some people use other tools, which is fine. But to really get your chance to explain that. So 30 seconds is just, hi, I'm Andy, who you are. And then 60 seconds to just explain that challenge to us. it is it is something we watch. You know, it does. You don't have to go to town and produce an Oscar nominated movie for this, but at the same time, it needs to be visible, viewable, and you know, get your message across. And that's one of the key things. Get your message across in a relevant way.
Something really important to do is to watch it. Don't just do it and turn it in. Watch it. You know, and I know that can be very hard for a lot of us. We're not comfortable with our voice. We're not comfortable with the way we look. It's important that you watch this video. Make sure it works. Make sure it says what you want. Make sure it has decent sound and light and a steady camera, right? All that stuff is now done in your phone anyways. And then I always sort of say, like, get out of your house, right? Go outside, shoot it in a place that says who, like, that helps define who you are, right? And it's just so many opportunities there. And you don't necessarily need a microphone. It's as long as you're in a quiet space that you can be heard, right? But a microphone doesn't hurt. So good. So good. That's the application, everybody. That's hopefully isn't too much. When it comes to that video, one thing you could do is just head over to the Innovator Program YouTube channel. Andy's got just tons of videos there. Andy and his team have a ton of videos there that will help you see each of the academies and the things that the people have done, you know, what videos they've shared. I just curated a quick playlist of videos of people I know or, you know, videos I liked. You'll just be able to kind of take a look at that and see the originality, the creativity that these folks have put in, because they either have like all this stuff to make a great video or they don't. And they're just sort of, they just got creative and they still were able to make something that was fun to watch and said a lot about who they are as innovators, right? So just be thinking about that. I'll leave that up. You know, this video is always going to be online, so you can take a look at it after the fact. But I just thought you'd add that to here. If you're still out there, you know, I started this whole thing like, I'm going to do this in 30 minutes, and we're at 47 minutes and 4 seconds. So I'm a bad timekeeper, but I wanted to open it up here to you out there. If you are interested in asking a question, we'd love to hear what that is, and we bring everybody back in that's still remaining. I know I see Alex there. If you are interested, I know Judy, I thought you might have to go, but I'll bring everybody back in and feel free to ask questions in the chat. And but you don't have to, but we're here to help. There you go.
And just looking at the chat, Jim, there's a question there. This might be one Judy can help with, because I know, Judy, you went to an English language academy, but came in from, in your case, South Korea. So someone's asked, a lot of Koreans worried about English in the academy. What's your feelings on that, Judy?
Well, definitely you do need to speak English to communicate. This is not just one single test, you just get it over. You have to keep communicating. So, but the language is not the main issue. The people you are going to meet, they're very patient. So they don't really check your mistakes. They just try so hard to see your point. And so if you think that there's a big issue you want to solve to make a better place to learn, then please do not hesitate and go for your application. And once you are accepted, I'm sure we have 26 Korean innovators that can help you too. And so if the language is the main issue and you think you're not confident, I know the Korean people are so humble, even though they speak very fluently, but they usually say, Judy, I don't speak English. But I agree with what Hyojin said. You know, that's not the main issue. And you are going to meet beautiful people, and they are wonderful. So they're not judgmental at all. So please just go for it.
Yeah, that's such a good point, right? And I know because we're in Korea, we'll have Korean mentors there as well, and of course the Googlers that are in the office there. There'll be a lot of help. I'd be thinking about maybe you're not from Korea. Maybe you're. I just was recently at the Tokyo Google Champions Symposium, which innovators and trainers and coaches are all champions, and a lot of folks there were looking at applying as well, and it's depending on the number of people, we really want to be able to try to support as much as we can language and helping folks with English. as much as we can. We can't guarantee that every language will be represented at the event, but depending on how many people we get from around the world. So here's a great question. Will there be a total number of participants and a quota per country? Andy, how have you handled that in the past?
So there is obviously a maximum capacity to each academy, and that's often based around the size of the rooms that are available in the office that we're going to. So there is a total number of participants. Is that there's not a quota per country, so there could be. We could have an entire cohort of people here from one country. It's about the scoring and the process, but we do look at balance across our academies as well. We do try and make sure different views are reflected. We do try and make sure we are being inclusive in that respect. But yeah, there is a set number, and so not everybody who applies will get in. And as I mentioned earlier, it took me 3 attempts to get in. And so if you don't get in on your first attempt, have a look at some of the other academies, have a look at some of the online version or some of the other things, and apply again.
I agree. Not everybody gets in the first time, and it's and that's okay, right? Just realize that there's just so many folks that are applying for this. That's a great question, and yeah, it's we are just waiting for the application deadline to come in before we start looking at who the coaches will be at the event. We're so we want to make sure that everybody feels supported at that event. Yeah. Good. Great questions. Thank you for that. Yeah, I know that there's a comment in here just around I think you sort of mentioned it, Judy, just around. I know a lot of folks who are English is not their first language. They're feeling very humbled. They don't necessarily believe that their language skills are good enough. I think if you're listening to this webinar, you're probably fine, because but the event is in English. We just want to remind folks that this event, even though it's in Korea, the event is and will be in English. Yeah. Good. Any other questions before we wrap up? I know I'm going to shoot for the hour. That's what I'm going to try to do. Hopefully, it'll be good. If you know me, half an hour is not enough. I don't even know why I try. It takes me 10 minutes to say hi, right? Well, the recording will be available on our Deploy Learning YouTube channel. You have the link there. Feel free to share that with other folks that you know that are applying. We really only want you to share it with the folks going to Korea, but there's some useful information in here. You could probably apply to another academy.
It's fine to share with everybody, Jim, who's going to any academy.
I don't know. Maybe just Seoul. But no, there's some great academies out there. Andy, you're going to all of them, are you?
I'm not going to Brazil because it's actually the same time as Chicago. I've got 2 at once in the same window.
Look at you. That's so you're going to 5 as a single. What a great opportunity.
Well, one of them is online, so I'm in my house.
Yeah, that's right. What I love is that, Andy, that you're just a product of the Innovator Academy, right? Like the opportunities that you've created for yourself, and the support from the folks that you've in this community. You've done such an amazing job at managing these events, and what a pleasure it is for me and my team at Deploy Learning to be involved. I'm so grateful to Alex and Judy and Carlos, and of course you, Andy, for making the time to share this fun stuff with everybody. We hope that you apply. We hope that you will reach out if you have questions. And we'll hope that you will share your application with maybe a colleague, just to kind of to make sure that you're not missing anything, because we want to see you there, right? We wish that we could just give you a ticket. If you watch this webinar, I feel like you should just be allowed to come in, but there's no question on the application for that. So, anywho, thank you so much, everyone. We'll go ahead and end this recording. Wonderful to see you. Good luck on the application. Hopefully we'll see you in Korea. If not, Andy will see you everywhere but Brazil. Ciao. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Yeah, I think you have